Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Sanjay Gupta. I welcome you again on Skill Horizon Next Gen YouTube channel. And since you already know, we are currently running a bootcamp on ServiceNow. So for the same, I have Kunal with me. Welcome, Kunal, on the channel. So Kunal already covered one session on ServiceNow where he explained what ServiceNow is and he navigated around the UI, how ServiceNow looks like, and how you can set up the org for that. So today he will be covering some new features related to ServiceNow. So without wasting much time, I think we can start. So over to you, Kunal. I think
Thanks, and
we can recap.
yeah,
Yeah, we can recap whatever we have done, and then we can proceed further.
right. Thanks, Sanjay. So, last session we covered what ServiceNow is, how are they present in the market, and what are the basic offerings. We are covering mainly ServiceNow administrator role, as is if you want to become an ServiceNow administrator, system administrator, what are the things that you need to know? How to create a personal developer instance so that you can practice various exercises that we will be sharing with you, and what is a basic form view, list view, and some of the other things. Let me go. Yeah, that's what I said. So as a system admin, what would be your roles? Be create, manage user groups and roles, configure tables, forms, and fields, build and maintain applications, and apply upgrades whenever they come to you. This session will cover creating a new application and doing some hands-on work in RPDI. So let's go to that. Let's go through some theoretical part of it. What is that we mean when we say application as ServiceNow? Since ServiceNow is an RDBMS with very good UI built on top of it, an application is very little more than a collection of tables, of forms that you create for these tables, some modules that could be JavaScript code, could be Angular, could be React, any code that you use to interact with these tables. Now we are going to create a new scope application now. So we'll go to our PDI, and there are multiple ways of doing same thing in ServiceNow as we discussed last time. One, this way, this is the old way of doing things. For example, there is a table in ServiceNow where you store all your applications, and that is sys_app table. And you can just go here and click on new, and you would be creating a new table here. So we will be creating a new application. Give me one moment. And let's create a student portal table. So what we create this application and work throughout the session is student support table. We will add a logo here. Yeah. So
Is there any difference between these two?
yeah, so scope applications is like creating an application within a sandbox. So you have limited access to other applications, and other applications have limited access to your data. When you create application in global scope, you are in a way in a parental group where you can access everything on ServiceNow. Now you cannot sell a global application, you cannot ship it to the store. If you want to ship it to the store or sell application, it has to be a scoped application. So where are global application used? They would be used where if you own the instances and you have a ServiceNow developer, and since everything is within your enterprise, you could have access to everything. In that case, yeah, you can create a global scope. But for our purpose, and in most cases, it is scoped application. So create continue. We want to create a role that will be available in this application. First is admin, which is main admin role, and then we can create a user role, which will have limited privileges. But these are just definition of user roles. You decide what access they have later. Now that we have created application, it is asking us to create a file in it. Since let's skip this part, we'll come to this later. But yeah, now we have created an application and we will change our application mode to that.
Okay, so okay, if we want to open the application from here, we need to search it, right?
We are changing the scope of
Okay,
development right now. So this is application scope. We were working in global,
okay.
and now we will move to student support application. And once that is done, this will refresh. And if you see, the custom application table has a record here. Student support. We'll just go through the contents in a minute. Right. So student support is the name of application. This is the current version and the scope name. Now, this is something which is used to uniquely identify your application across ServiceNow platform, not just your instance, everywhere. Now, 1822728 is a number given to my ServiceNow ID. So even if I create a new application, it will always start with X underscore 1822728 underscore student, and that is the name of our application underscore 0.
If you can little bit zoom in.
Yeah, better now?
Yes, yes.
ServiceNow had an issue, I think 2 years back, that we were still stuck in JavaScript ECMA 5, where we did not have access to newer array functions and fetch function, multiple. But now we have ECMA 21. You can choose to use older version, but I don't see any reason why you would do that. And we added our logo here that is also available. Now, what are application file? This is important. Now, imagine if you create a React app, right? So you have a folder and you keep adding JavaScript code and keep adding files to that. Similarly, this application in ServiceNow has these 4 files in it. You can call it files. They are essentially records on some table, but they are grouped and they are available for this application. For example, if you remember, we created 2 users, .admin and .user. They have been created for us, and they are, the table name is sys user role. There would be multiple files in ServiceNow whose motive is not exactly clear what they do, but they are mainly just to create links between multiple records. They are mainly M2M records, and we can safely ignore further those for now at least. All right, so now we have this application, and for now we did not create any application menu. We will create that once we create a new table. Right, coming back to our PPT. So we have created a new application, and now we will create a new table, and then we'll add modules. That would be our application menu or menu on the left-hand side. So when you see this menu, the self-service, this is an application menu, and everything that is beneath it, sub-menu, they are called modules. Okay. And when you create a new application, new table, it will ask that, do we wish to create a new module? And it will do that for us automatically. So we have created a new application already. I should have marked a request, but hardly matters. And now we'll create a new table, that is student request table in this application. Let's go to tables, system definition tables, and we will create a new table here. We will call it student requests. The name would be suggested automatically by ServiceNow. You can use that or you could change it. That is for you to decide. But again, the scope name of our application is prepended. It's on the initial part of the table name. and then just the name that you put is changed to snake case, right? Snake case and put here. Now on the right hand side, it does ask you, do you want to create a module for this? Remember the parents are system application, menu, and what comes beneath is a module. So yeah, we will create a new module for this, and we should have already, no, it did not create, but yeah, it will create a menu for us and it will create a module for us as well. So we'll save this for now and we'll add columns after this.
In
I wanted
in
to save this before we added new fields because there are few fields that are created automatically by ServiceNow. Let's, so if you remember on list view, we always have this option to personalize the columns that we see. Now, for now, we are seeing column label, type of the field, if it's a reference field. If it is not, if it's a string or integer, then you mention the maximum length and default value and the display. And let me add the column name to this. So column label is which is for reading, and column name would be the technical name of this field. You know,
So one quick question here, like if we compare it with Salesforce, so here we are using term table, not object,
right? Not
right?
object.
And column is column, not field, right? Technical term is column here.
Technical name is column here.
Yeah,
So imagine a spreadsheet that you have column
yeah,
and rows, right?
Excel,
So
right,
they
right.
just call it column.
Okay.
But again, that's one and same thing. All right, and we have created a new table, and now we will add few fields on it. We'll add a name, an email, and request type. We'll choose it to be string. We'll put 100 to maximum. Now on the right hand side, you can actually mark this as read only. And in case someone opens a form view on this, they won't be able to modify the values. But for now, we keep it editable. So we have added a new field name. We add another one. That would be an email. Right. That has been added. Now we go back to the table. Opens. We will add request type.
Field creation is very simple. Like we just need to click on new and fill the required information, right?
All right. So now we have three fields on it that we created: name, email, and request
Request
type.
type, yeah. Rest are
Now
standard.
we now let's go and see if the student request is now available here. That was created automatically, and the moment we click on it, it will open the list view for us. And by default, it will show us the fields that user added, not the automatic field that were created. And now we can click on new field, and we'll just add one, add example. A request type is text for now, but in next exercise, we'll convert this to a drop-down list. So we'll see, I need a laptop. So very simply, what has happened is that we created a new table, and ServiceNow automatically created a CRUD interface for it, which is create, modify, and delete for us, right? So We can create new record, we can modify this record, and we can click on it and delete this record. Three things that can be done through this interface. And this is the power of low-code platforms like ServiceNow, that you don't need to go into this.
I think all four operations we can do. We can view, create, delete, edit.
Yeah, yeah. Create, read, update, and delete.
Right, right.
Right.
And like if we open, like, can you show how it will look like if you open a record? Okay,
Exactly same as it looked while we created.
okay. Only three fields that we created it is showing. And what about the standard fields?
If you want, you can add this here.
Okay,
We would come to it later, but let's show it anyways. So we'll go to form builder and we'll convert this to two column here so it looks a bit better. We'll add a new column here, which should be fields, and we'll convert this to two column as well. And put created by in front of it, updated. Now, since these fields are not something that you should interact with, we'll make them read only. Read only. And we save this. Done. And we will reload our page. And then, so every time I save this form, the updated value will change. And save this. Now it has changed. Now updated is more ahead of the created field. So these fields, for example, when you're looking at this, again, since ServiceNow, this interface at least is for power users, you will find the right click works everywhere. For example, if I want to see something which is on this table, I could go to this Graver, right click, configure, form designer, and table. Table will give you all the fields that are present on this table. Now, if you see, there are these three fields that we created, and we decided the name of the columns. But everything that was created by system start with sys underscore, which indicates that this was created by system and they are used by system, and you normally should stay away from those. Sys ID is one field which is present on each and every table, and this is a GUID, which is a unique identifier for each and every record. It is a 32 letter string, and it is GUID 4, which means the chances of any collision, any two sys ID being common, is 1 in trillions. So yeah, they're pretty safe there. Okay, let's get back to our PPT. So what we have done is we have created a new application. We created a new table in this application. We added three fields: name, email, and request type. We created a module that we see here, student request, and we accessed it by application navigator, which is. So if you are here already, what you learned is that how to create a new application and create a new table on it. So if you're just saving something, for example, you're just saving some notes or some a to-do list, you already know how to do that. Already reached there. Now we come to form configuration. We already covered some part of it,
right.
but yeah, we will go in a bit more depth now. So if you remember, what we did was, this is form designer. This is the latest iteration of form design tool that ServiceNow has. Surprisingly, ServiceNow has multiple ways of doing it. Form layout is the oldest one, and it certainly looks like it. It is very simply two select boxes. It says don't use me, I'm old, but yeah. So here, if you want to create a two-column layout, you would add name, email, then a split, and then request type. And here are the sections. So it can be a bit old looking, but it is still used, excessively used, lot more than ServiceNow would want people to do. So we will make a small change and see how it works, right? So let me see, we'll add updates here just below request type, and we save this and it shows updates, and we reload and remove it from here. So you can use it anywhere and just keep refresh and we get the value there. There's another way of doing it, which is Form Designer. This is something that came, I think, 3 or 4 years back. It was not a very popular option, but people do use it. It is very similar to what Form Designer new one is. The only difference is this is made in AngularJS, which is not deprecated. So they have decided not to continue with this and they've created a new view. But it still works. Still has drag and drop options and it's a bit antiquated. That's it. But yeah, in any case, if you are starting out, you should start using Form Designer, nothing else.
So as you said, this is the latest one, right?
Yeah, the Form Designer is the latest iteration in multiple tools that ServiceNow has, and it is the most powerful one. You
Okay.
have fields here and you also have components. There are a bit more things which are a bit more advanced, but we can come back to later. I'll just close this one up. Okay, so now we have covered creation of table, creating a form. Now we know what the difference is between form layout and form designer. We have added a new field and removed it. And we have also done the drag and drop with section. We created a new section here for the user that was auto-created field and added it there. Now, one thing that we can see is that ServiceNow does take some things in their hands. For example, it shows us two sections here, but if there were 3 or 4, it will convert it automatically to tab view, and we'll do that now. So we'll add a new section below it. We call it auto section 2, and we will make this again 2 columns, and we drag the updated and update it by here and save it. Remove the form, and what it does is it converts that into tabs. So auto-created fields and auto section 2. So these are something that ServiceNow takes care for you. And the idea behind it is that if you have so many sections, it becomes really cluttered interface. So to make things easy for user to do, they just convert into tabs. Right. So we will make few changes to this table and we will add a new field that is priority comments. And let us see how that works out. So we are in Form Designer. Now, if we want to add a new field, we'll go to the table and configure the table. There's a way that you can add the field directly here. So just double click here and we start typing priority comments. It will not help you with name. Let's type something. We'll make it string. Since it is a comment, we'll make it maybe 1,000 letters. So you added this, we'll save the table. Now, since we are in admin side, it does give you multiple options. For example, you could directly jump from here to form builder, change the layout, or even go to the form directly. So if I click here, it will create a new record on this table. And it already added the priority comment here, but I don't want it there. I will move it to a section here. So let me refresh this page to get the latest layout. I will remove priority comment from here, and we will remove this section. We don't need this. We'll add a section in between, and that will be called notes slash comments. And we'll add it here. And it's a string thing. Max length is this, dependent field. That. Now the idea is because it is supposed to be a comment, it should actually occupy the maximum space on a form. So now you have this whole space to put in the priority comments. What we'll do is we'll go to a previous record and change that value here. Save. That is done. And if we go here, and we can even add that field here. And so we added a new field onto this table, and then added that to the form layout, and added that to list layout for us. We already use the form designer to create tabs, and we are still not at a point where we can create related list, but we'll come to that later. All right, we already created new fields. Now let us see how many different type of fields we can create. There are many options, some of which are pretty complicated, but for basic usage, there's strings, integer, date, a choice list, we'll come to that, a reference to a different table, and a boolean. So, and on each field type, we can put something which is known as reference qualifiers. They are useful for reference. And I'll give you a simple example. For example, on this form, if we had an option to add another user from our main system user table, I would not want every user to be visible on that field. So I could create a reference qualifier saying only show records which has this text in their email. Or for example, if I am in Skill Horizon and our email address is kunal@skillhorizon.com. So I just want to show people who have that email address. So I could configure that. And dictionary overrides are something which comes into play when we extend pre-existing table. For example, if you remember the task table, one of the oldest table is ServiceNow, you can extend that table and create new fields on it. For example, you have task table. It has around 50 fields. You want all the functionality that is available on that table, but you want one additional field. So you extend the table and create a new field on it. But now those 50 fields that were present, you want to modify some functionality on those fields, their dictionary overrides come into picture. And calculated field would be something like if you have a field which should be just two fields mixed together, that is what calculated fields are. We'll take an example of each quickly after this. We will create a new field, urgency, and it will have three options. The user can only select among those, and that will be a choice field. Let's go here, configure table again, and create. It will be a string field, and urgency. Should have, we keep it 50 because We'll save this. And now there are few forms. For example, if you remember when we were creating this record, uh, we had very limited number of fields. But once you save it, multiple other fields and tabs actually show up because you don't want access control on field that is still not created. Similar. Now, choice list. This is string, but I want user to be able to select from a choice. Now, what options can they have? Drop down with none, which means they can specify a none value. But I don't want that. I want drop down without none. And what that means that I have to provide a default value. Let's first create the choices that the user would have. The choices were high, medium, and low. Let's create that. High. Again, similar to column names and column label, the value is the technical part and the label is just what user sees. Sequence is just an integer. So ServiceNow will render in order sequence. So we will mark it as 100, then medium, and sequence of 200, and low, and low, and 300. Now we've done that. We will make medium to be our default value. That's about it. We'll save this. And we'll add this to the form designer. It has already done that for us. And it seems to be in correct place just below the request type and the urgency of this. All right. I think we should go and modify the request type as well. That seems weird to be in. So we'll go to request type. We'll make it a choice, but we'll allow people to make it and none. None. Now, if you see request type, you have an option to select none, but on urgency, no, you have to select one of the options. And we'll make it a mobile phone. So, let's see. This. Now we have two, Sanjay and Kunal, laptop and this. One another good thing with ServiceNow is that you can actually change these values directly from the list view. For example, if I want to change my laptop, I can just double click it and it will open this record for editing. And it is now saved. And that's it. Now we will add a new user. If you remember, we talked about a reference field. So let's add a new field onto this and we'll call it the approver. We are adding a new reference field. We'll call it approver. The person would approve our request and in the reference specification, we will use users table. This is the sys user table and we'll save this. Right. So let's move this to, yeah, right. And we'll save this and we'll go back to our student request table. Let's open this into a new tab. Right. Now to upload an approver. If I click on this, so this is a reference field. We would set up a reference to our system user table. And if you remember the name, you could simply start searching for it. Then, or you could click on the search icon, scope, and it will open the whole table, and then you can look and choose from there. Nothing is, I don't want all users to be visible in this. For example, creator user should not be here. It is a system user that should not be assigned to be approved on this record. So we will modify this. Now, if you remember, we said since ServiceNow, this interface is for pro users, you can actually right click on this and configure dictionary. Dictionary is just details about this column or field. So we'll click on configure dictionary and it will open the record of this field. What we had done was we made this a reference field, called it approver, and said the reference would be the user. Now what we're doing is reference qualifier condition. I want the email to contain example. So after this, only those user record will be visible in the search whose email address contain this text. We'll save this. Go here again. Now if we were to search, if you remember, there was some user which had no email address. Now they're gone. Only and only those users will show up whose email address have example.com and there. And we'll save this. Now we will create a calculated field on this table. Let's do that. Configure table. Create a new field. It will be a string. And we want calculate. I just call it calculated field for us. And max length would be 500. Now, remember when I said that sometimes some forms don't show many details until you save it. So this is that case again. So we'll save this form. And once you save, options pops up here, advanced view. Click on this. And now you have this option of calculated field. You click on this, calculated field. And now you can write a small JavaScript code to calculate this field. So we'll delete this. And in place of return, what we'll do is, now this, if you understand JavaScript, what is happening is that this part is defining this function, and this part is calling this function. And current is the current record in this table. So we can use current values here. For example, current dot is that we wanted to add priority, not priority. We did have priority field, right? I think we forgot. Let's add some different two fields. Okay, we'll add request type and urgency. So current dot request type plus, we'll add a dot here so that we know what's happening, and urgency. That's it. So what we are doing is every time someone save this record, this function will run, and the value of this field would be saved as request type plus dot plus current dot urgency. Let's try it out. There you have it. Calculated field, mobile phone plus a dot plus video. So if I want to change this value will automatically update to reflect this. Now, where would you use this? This would be used mainly for reporting or maybe ease of displaying data. And since it is a JavaScript code, you can be creative and even do some calculations on it. If you have, for example, urgency and impact, then you can take those value and come up with a third value, which is appropriate here. So this is what we have covered. We have understood how can you add a choice list field where user has to select from a choice. We have added a reference field and we have added a reference qualifier on that field so that the options that are visible are reduced. And we have created a new calculated field where we added two fields and created that value. Sanjay, want to continue now or maybe for next session?
Yeah, I think
This will take 20 minutes more.
I think we can cover in the next session because today you already covered lots of things which are related to the UI. So I think this is something, it is related to forms, but it is something advanced. So we can cover in the next session.
Good.
Okay.
But
So
I think if people want to follow, remember you can take out your PDI instance and try out whatever we did today. We have covered many things, though not in detail. But if you can replicate this, I think you will have a head start. Yeah. Sanjay.
Okay, so I think we'll be having our next session on Thursday. So we will be covering those things there. And yeah, guys, these are just introductory session. And once we are done with those, so we will be soon starting the job readiness programs as well for this, like similar to Salesforce we are running. So in that, like, we will guide you how you can actually crack these certifications because after these sessions you will be getting to know you will get to know like how ServiceNow actually works, what things we are doing in the UI, how things are implemented, and soon you will see the little bit development part as well. So these two certifications, which is related to admin and development, so we will be guiding you in person in those sessions, and those will be happening both online and offline mode. So we will be focusing on the job readiness so that we can find some job opportunities in the ServiceNow ecosystem as well, similar to Salesforce, because it is nowadays growing in India. So there will be lots of job opportunities available. So do follow all these sessions which are available on YouTube free of cost so that you have some basic understanding of ServiceNow, and just wait for our job readiness programs, and soon we will be launching them and then you can enroll. Okay, so I think we can wrap the session here only. Okay.
Yes.
So,
Thank you guys so
yeah.
much.
Thank you, Kunal, for sharing all the knowledge. Thank you,
Yes,
viewers. See you on Thursday with another session of ServiceNow. Bye, everyone.